But alhamdulillah, whenever I go to a country, I always try to find the Muslim community, by going to the big masajids. Like over here in Jakarta, I landed, first day, I go straight to Jummah Salat and Istiqlal, After that, I took it international. So if you want to travel, have the intentions, save and budget for that travel, and just go and explore and do things by yourself solo. Even if you go to the cafe solo, go have dinner solo, go have breakfast solo, go to the beach solo.
You have to be in full control.
You have to be full control
on yourself.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, I see.
Once you do that, then you understand yourself, and alhamdulillah, you'll be content with yourself forever. One last thing, remember, if everybody has it, if everyone can achieve it, it's something you don't want. Because it becomes easy. So like if it's, and that's why, for example, the Jannah is something you have to work for. It's not just given. If it's something that everyone gets, then no one's appreciative of it because it's easy. You don't appreciate it. But if you have to work for it, then you appreciate it. So work for it.
Menjelajahi dunia dalam 6 bulan untuk mencari hidayah. Ayo kita ngobrol.
Have we started yet? We haven't started.
Already. It's so
casual.
Casual. Starting from you, actually, I heard that you are multicultural person.
I am, alhamdulillah. My identity is quite interesting. When people ask me the question, where are you from? Especially living in the West and looking the way I look, you get that moment where you pause, and depending who asks you the question, you think to yourself, how do I respond and tell them where I'm from? Are they asking where I live? Are they asking where my citizenship is? Or are they asking where my parents and my blood is from? So I find when I travel a lot and people ask me where are you from, I change the answer all the time. Most of the time sometimes I say I'm from Somalia, which is true, because I'm Somali. My blood is from East Africa. Other times I tell people I'm from Australia, and that is also true because I live in Australia and I lived in Australia for the majority of my life now. And sometimes I feel like, I'll tell them I'm from New Zealand because I am New Zealand citizen as well.
So, as a citizen, you are New Zealand.
That's
right. But you live in Australia.
Correct.
But your blood is Somalian.
Somali, yeah.
Wow.
And I was born in Kenya.
You were born in Kenya, mashallah.
Right. So I identify with too many things and it confuses people, So even like in a few conversations that we've had when people ask me, and then people are like, but I thought you were from there. I'm like, it's a long story, but I'm also from there.
So your name should be United Nations.
That's right.
So when was that the first time you had the idea of becoming the content creator?
I think back in 2000 when I was in primary school in New Zealand, when I was like a little kid, we used to do something which is very cool, and I don't see it too often now, but we used to make school movies. This is back in the days when we had CDs and VRCs. Remember back in the days when we were young, it was just to be VRCs. And after that, it became DVD players.
DVD player. We
used to make school movies, and we used to also make home film.
What year was that?
This is like 2004. 5 and 6.
Around 20 years ago?
20 years ago almost. Very long time ago. And then I remember we were doing some primary school movies and I was one of the actors and I signed up to be the main actors and then that gave me that whole experience of acting. I loved it, and I'm just watching myself on the TV screen, not the TV screen, sorry, on the screen in the assembly or movie nights when we invite all the parents to watch it. You feel a bit of pride, like that's myself, And then going into high school, we made YouTube videos back in 2011 and 12. This is the beginning of YouTube almost, We made some YouTube videos, same thing, just home, using like little cameras. And I love it. I fell in love with the whole creating because it's a very good means of expressing yourself, You just get to be yourself in a very raw essence. Fast forward to like 2017, 18, I started to travel solo and I had my phone, my iPhone. It was bad camera at the time. I was making little videos and sending it to my friends and family, and the stories and the encounters I was having was incredible. People would be like, how did you have that encounter? That's incredible. Some people didn't believe it if I didn't have the videos. And I said
the video is the proof, yeah?
the videos are the proof, you know. It's like, how the hell did you end up in these situations, you know? Because it's just crazy. Like, how does someone go from sitting in an office in Perth to now being, say, you know, stuck in a forest or in a mountain, you know, having this crazy experience, like, you know, being invited by locals to go eat food with them. So I said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna start recording my adventures, you know, and just showing this life. And yeah, I picked up the camera, I think 2020, a bit in 2022, 2021, but a big time in 2023 when I left Australia.
2022, after COVID.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, just 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. 2 years ago today, actually, when I was, 2 years ago today, I was in Afghanistan, actually, I think. Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that story that you said that you've been traveling to Umrah from one country to another.
Yep.
And then the Umrah, and then circling again and go back to your country.
Correct. Yeah.
Now your country, yeah.
Right.
Where you live, yeah.
Yeah.
Around 6 months.
6 months on the road, yeah.
Starting from what country?
I started in Indonesia. I started
here.
Yeah, in Bali actually.
In Bali.
I started because it's close to Australia.
Yeah.
So I wanted to sort of. It was the first time going back out and traveling since COVID, you know. Or since over a year, and I just wanted to start somewhere close, same time zone, very close to home, so I can fly home if there's an emergency. So I started in Bali. I spent about 5 days there, just relaxing, getting used to just being away from home again, getting used to eating food outside. And then from there, I booked every ticket until I was going home. I booked every ticket one way, and I booked it within 3 days of leaving the country all the time. So I never booked the ticket 1 week in advance. When I left Bali, I said to myself, before I left Bali, I said to myself, where do I want to go next? And I said to myself, you know what, I should go to Nepal.
So it's unplanned?
Unplanned, yeah. All I knew is I wanted to go to Umrah, and I wanted to at least go to Afghanistan, Pakistan. Everything else was unplanned.
After Indonesia, go to where? Malaysia?
After Indonesia, I went to Nepal.
Nepal?
Correct.
Okay.
I went to Nepal to go trekking.
So you decided Nepal when you were here, you were in Indonesia?
Yeah.
And then the country after Nepal, you decide there?
I decided there, 2 days or 3 days before I left as well. I said, you know what, I'm going to go down to India. You know, it was between India or Bhutan. I decided to go to India.
So mostly by car, by plane, by air?
Some countries by plane, and the rest all by walking.
By walking?
Yeah. So I would get to the border, I'd catch a ride, get to the border, and then you'd walk from the border to the other border, just across to the immigration, and then you'd walk a couple of more kilometers, and then catch a car out into the city, like.
By yourself, eh?
By myself, yeah.
There are the videos that you crossing from India to Pakistan.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I think going to South Asia was probably one of the biggest travel eye-opening experiences. India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh. It was really incredible. You know, you have a big population, you have a lot of sound, sights, smell, noise. So a lot of the times, if you're not used to this, it's shocking to the body. And then what it's called is, like, when I went to, for example, when I first went to India, it was really surreal, the noise and everything, you know. It was just like, wow, I'm not used to this, coming from Australia and living in a city that's next to the beach where it's quiet almost, you know. But alhamdulillah, you know, whenever I go to a country, I always try to find the Muslim community, you know, by going to the big masajids. Like over here in Jakarta, I landed, first day, I go straight to Jummah Salat at Istiqlal, you know, and then when you go there, you meet the community, you see what it's like, and then you become very comfortable, because wherever you go as a Muslim, we're all the same in the terms of, even if we don't speak the same language, we all know when we hear that Aqama and Azan to stand up and prayer. We know what to do. We all do the same wudu. So I felt at home straight away, even though I was physically in a foreign country. Mentally, I felt at home. And then, alhamdulillah, I went from India, and I said to myself, at it's almost Holi, but because I'm Muslim, I don't celebrate Holi. I want to go to another country. So I went to Bangladesh. I booked a ticket and I left the next day. Or maybe I left the same day, I don't know. But I left, I went to Bangladesh and actually I left the same day. I booked in the morning and left at night time.
Oh yeah.
And I went straight
Was that
to
in Bangladesh?
Yeah. I went to Bangladesh after India and
Only
Allah.
So it's not even a day, yeah?
Not even a day, no.
Why is that?
I woke up that morning and I just said, you know, look, so actually someone messaged me and said, come to Bangladesh on Instagram and said, or on TikTok and said, look man, come to Bangladesh, experience what it's like over here. And I said, that's a good idea. And I looked at flights to Bangladesh and I booked it that morning and I left that night.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, it's the freedom of, alhamdulillah, being lucky in the position that I'm in, that I don't need to question things and I feel very safe. I just, someone will say, come to this country, I will just go.
Oh,
you know?
mashallah.
And I feel, alhamdulillah, very, very safe. And so far, everything's worked out for me. You know, even when I went to Afghanistan and people say Afghanistan is like this, like that, alhamdulillah, although I had a bit of difficulties, and I think Afghanistan is a country that is tough to travel, but it's so rewarding to travel. But the beauty is, if something is tough, then it's not for everybody. And because if it's not for everybody, then it's special. It has some sort of special attraction because not everybody can go to experience this because it's too difficult. And because it's too difficult, it's left for those who are very brave or challenging or daring to go experience it. You know?
So that's a cool mindset, yeah? MashaAllah. So if that's so many trouble, it means that this is the movie for you.
Yes.
It's customized from Allah. It's your movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your challenge. When I saw your video about the thing that happened to you in Afghanistan, when you've been followed by some people, they thought that you were a spy. Is it how is it happen?
Yeah, so in Afghanistan, they have this rule where when you get into the country, you have to have a piece of paper that says, you know, you're here legally as a tourist, and you have to carry your passport with you everywhere you go. You can't walk around without your passport. You need to have your passport with you all the time, which makes sense. You know, I understand because they want to make sure that you're not a spy and that you're not here for corruption to the people and to the land. So I was walking around, I was recording, holding my camera like this, walking on the streets, only tourist in the whole city, you know? And obviously I look different, so it's obvious that this guy is not from Afghanistan. So I'm walking around and then I don't know, I watched a video later that someone was following me, you know, and you would have seen the video. He's wearing blue, he's running from so far away.
I thought that he was a lady, I thought so because the drop.
And the way he was wearing his stuff, a lot of people thought he was a woman, but he was just covering his face, I think maybe because of the camera or something like this. But he comes up to me running, and then he says in his Pashtun language, I don't know, but something along the lines of, put the camera down, come with me, come with me. He grabs me in the shoulder, tells me to come back, come here, and I look back and I'm just like, what's going on, man? Is there a problem? And then we don't understand each other, but I get what he wants. He wants me to go with him. I said to him, look, I don't have time today because I'm very busy. I need to go to another city, and I'm walking over here to do some paperwork and everything. So we could understand each other. Plus, I've been in the country for 5 days, so I had very little patience now with this whole, can we check your passport kind of thing? Because every day you're being showing your passport. I'll show you my passport now. I'll walk 100 meters, and later I have to show another person again and again. So the patience is very little. I'm fasting, and if I'm showing my passport 100 times in a day, you get very tired.
It was in Ramadan?
It was Ramadan as well. It was Ramadan. So, and that's the amazing thing about traveling during Ramadan. You know, you get to see this side of the world and the cultures of Ramadan in each country. And that's why I'm here in Jakarta. But just with the Afghan story, eventually I said to him, look, I had no time, my friend. I kept walking. 3-4 times he stopped me. Eventually it got to a point where I was surrounded by so many locals I couldn't move anymore. And then you can say they stopped me and then they took me back and I was detained for 3 to 4 hours.
You were detained? For how long then?
3 to 4 hours. Just in a room with no windows.
So what happened there?
They just kept me inside the room. They had one guard every time with me. But alhamdulillah, they were very nice. They were absolutely nice.
So they search you for, your name or everything.
Yeah, they just wanted to establish who I am. Yeah, but I had all my papers. I showed them, but this time they just wanted to do some extra check, and they also wanted someone to come speak to me. So they kept saying, "Wait, he's coming, he's coming." So it was some big boss. I don't know. He eventually,
somebody who knows English.
Yeah, he knew English, but some other people knew English as well. But he was more like the chief or something.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so he came. It took him 3 hours to come, or 4 hours, which made me wait a long time. But look, the whole time they were very nice. They were very kind. They even offered me food and water, but I told them I was fasting, and they were surprised, and they said, "Oh, that's very nice, mashallah. You know, you're Muslim." And I'm like, "Yes, I'm Muslim." So alhamdulillah, they were very, very kind about that. In Afghanistan, honestly, like a lot of countries I've been to, but Afghani people are one of the most humble, most generous people I've ever met in traveling their country. Even like subhanAllah, the locals, the army, the police officers, the security guards on the streets, the traffic people, subhanAllah, all of them were very, very kind. They would always say to you, "Can we do something to help you? Like, how can we serve you?" You know? And I'll tell them, "Look, alhamdulillah, you've already done enough by smiling at me, you know, or taking the time to sort of engage with me, because there was a big language barrier. But when they engage with you, it's very nice, because it's like they're trying their best to talk to you, even though you can't understand each other, you know? But subhanAllah, they were very kind. No matter, even all the times I got detained or stopped, they were very kind.
MashaAllah.
Just that day I had very little patience, which I think made the situation a bit more difficult, because it took more time eventually at the end.
That's such a rare experience, yeah?
Very rare.
You said that in those package of traveling that you did 2 years ago, you are aiming at Umrah, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
So when I left Australia, the goal was to make it to Umrah.
Yeah.
That was the intention, you know? So, and you know, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that innamal a'malu binniyah. Our actions are governed by intention, which is pretty much like the first hadith, you know? So all our actions are governed by intention. And I said to myself, my intention is to get to Umrah, you know, but I'm gonna give myself 4 months before Ramadan to leave. So I left in January. Ramadan was in April that time, and Eid was like sort of towards the end of April. You know? So I said to myself, I want to be in Umrah during Ramadan, the last 10 nights of Ramadan. I want to be doing Umrah and be at the Kaaba or Makkah and Medina, basically, you know. And the thing about being in Saudi Arabia, and you would know as well, you're invited by Allah. You know, we all have the intentions of going, but the only ones that make it are the ones that Allah invites. You know, if you're not invited by Allah, if it's not written for you, then you won't go there. So making it there itself is almost a big blessing itself. But having the intention to go to Umrah makes every step, inshallah, for me a reward on the way there, you know? So every day, every second, every minute, every step, every breath, I pray that, you know, if my intention is to go to Umrah, then every day is a reward for me, every second, you know? And if I, like, you know, if I lose my life on the way to Umrah, then may Allah accept me as a shaheed, you know? So
there's nothing to lose, yeah?
Nothing to lose. That's why
even
no fear.
the worst thing, if the worst thing happened, you already surrender.
That's right. I've already accepted my fate, and then I pray that Allah accept me into the highest levels of Jannah, because my intention was to go to His house.
That's a very cool mindset. Yeah. If everybody, have that kind of mindset, every problem that they had, that I already surrender this kind of faith is from me, and even though it's the worst thing happened, then inshallah that's the best.
100%. Yeah.
And then, how months after you depart from Australia, you reach the Makkah?
4
months.
4 months in like 1 week. Yeah.
So in the last week of Ramadan.
I made it in the last week in Ramadan. Yeah.
Probably the last week of Ramadan, probably the busiest airplane.
Yes.
To Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
The busiest traffic. And how do you get in?
So I don't know, it was quite difficult actually. but you know, Umrah is a difficult thing, you know, like, because it's not easy on the body, especially
It's
when in Ramadan.
physical,
Physically demanding, you know, but it's also one of those things that, you know, it cleanses you when you get there, you know. But the flights, alhamdulillah, was I actually flew from Kuwait, so I got very close to it, and I flew from Kuwait. It was only an hour or 2 hours flight. But you know, I was unprepared. I didn't have my ihram or anything ready, or my clothes stuff. I didn't really prepare other than mentally to just be there. So when I got there, I quickly found someone like an ustaz to show me how to prepare. It took me express funnel. It was actually incredible. I landed, and then I realized I needed to go through like the gates. You know how you have to go through one of the gates? What's it called? I had to go to Taif, for example, to do, I don't know what the word is, but you have to go through one of the gates, either the gate of the one from Masjid Aisha or Taif to make your niyyah, to do ghusl, make your niyyah, to get into ihram. I was at the train station, I was like, man, I need to get to Taif because that's the direction I came from. How do I get to Taif? And I just spoke to some random brother, you know, Saudi brother, and this is still Ramadan, you know, I'm still fasting, it's still time before iftar. I told him, look, hey man, I need to go to Taif, and he's like, don't worry about it, just come with me, I'll take you. He drove me 2 hours to Taif from Mecca station, allowed me to buy, he showed me where to buy the ihram, or the clothes for the ihram. Then he waited for me to do my ghusl, get into my state of ihram, to pray my salah in that masjid around that Taif area, and then he drove me back, and he drove me to his house, and subhanAllah, his wife brought some food to break iftar. That's all the first night, and we didn't even speak. He spoke Arabic, I spoke English. We still communicated somehow.
This will serve you the food and everything.
Correct.
For iftar.
And this is my first night in Saudi. Subhanallah, and he helped me, and then I was so tired because of the traveling. That night I slept amazing. You know, and I did my umrah the next day, and alhamdulillah, shaved everything off.
You were bald?
I went bald, and I had a big afro before that.
Oh, mashallah, mashallah. So, with this kind of experience, I think if everybody wanna copy this kinds of experience, they need to save some cash.
Correct. Yeah.
How much dollar you spend in the 6 months?
I think I was very lucky and blessed, alhamdulillah, that I budgeted very well, and a lot of these countries I got a lot of cheap or free accommodation, but I ended up spending in 6 months less than 8,000 Australian dollars.
8,000
Yeah,
Australian.
so in Bahasa that's probably, I don't know actually. I don't know. 8,000 times 10,000. That's how much in Indonesian rupiah. I don't know how much that would be. 8,000 times 10,000. Probably like
Quite
100 million.
Australian, Indonesia?
One Australian dollars is 10,000
10,000.
Indonesian rupiah.
Oh, it's around 80 millions.
80 million, eh?
80 millions for Indonesian.
Yeah, I think so, like that. Yeah, around 80 million, yep.
How many countries was that?
17 countries.
17 countries. For Indonesia, if they go to Umrah, they spend 40 millions.
Oh yeah, right. 40 million?
Only doing Saudi.
Just to go Saudi, yeah. Umrah can be that expensive, but I did it.
Yeah, because with the travel and everything, and it put you 80 millions, and with the 17 countries. What
My accommodation in Umrah is very simple as well. You know, so and I did a DIY.
30 and 40 millions is economy class for the Umrah as well.
Wow.
So. It's a nice price. I mean, you have 80 million for the 70 countries.
Yeah,
and then,
definitely.
If you have, then you have to spend how many months? Probably you work in Australia, and then you spend 6 free days from work. Then
I think I spent 1 year saving.
1 year saving?
Yeah.
And you had daily job in Australia?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, I see. And you take the day off for 6 months?
I finished my job and I quit.
Oh, you finished your job to do that?
Yeah, I finished the project and then I said goodbye to the company and then
you travel.
And then I said to myself, this is the perfect opportunity. So I just booked the ticket and I left. But my intentions, again, it goes back to the intentions. In the beginning of that year or the year before, 2022, I had the intention to do this travel and go through this part of the world. And then I just saved throughout the year in case, just so if the opportunity does present itself, if Allah ever gives me the blessings and opportunity, I'm ready. And subhanAllah, come the end of 2022, December, my job said, look, we're finishing up the project. We don't need you anymore. Thank you for your help. I said, thank you, no worries, it was a good project, I learned a lot, thank you. And then I said to myself, what am I going to do? And I realized, subhanAllah, this is the opportunity, Allah is now giving me the opportunity. He's presented me, this is the best time, go and travel. I did not hesitate. I finished the job, and then I said, all right, I'm going to book a ticket, and I booked the ticket and I left. I never looked back after that.
MashaAllah.
And it all starts with the intention, subhanAllah. If you make that intention, you want to do something, and you work for it, and you plan and you save to the best that you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, just 1% every day, one step. Throughout a period of time, you will find that you will go so far, and Allah will allow that open the doors for you. It's like that very famous Islamic saying, tie your camel and then trust in Allah.
But you have to tie your camel first.
But you have to tie your camel first. And that's what I did throughout the year. I tied my camel by saving, and then I left the rest to Allah. When the opportunity comes, it will come. And then when the opportunity came, Allah gave me the opportunity. I trusted in Allah, and then I took the opportunity and I went out there.
So now you have yourself as an explorer after that.
I do.
MashaAllah. So how many countries now?
I think
total
30 or 20, between 29 to 30 countries. 29
30 countries. The whole world is 100 something country.
197. So
197.
Still so much to go.
So what is the most your ultimate goals in one countries that you haven't went there?
I want to do the continent of Africa.
Africa?
I think so.
Which Africa?
East Africa, West Africa, all of it, subhanAllah, there's so much to see. Even North Africa, from Morocco. I have so many incredible Moroccan friends, and the culture and the food.
Morocco is Africa?
Yeah.
Africa,
North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunis, Egypt, Nasser, and then I want to go to Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, and then Kenya, where I was born, and then I want to see Zimbabwe, Zambia, South Africa, and then go to the west side, to like Ghana, Senegal, with this big Muslim community, Guinea, Burkina Faso, so many countries. Africa itself is so huge, 54 countries in the continent alone, so there's so much to see over there. If I just do Africa, it'll take a whole lifetime.
Wow.
That's 54 countries, So
combined, it's going to be around 70 countries.
80,
70. MashaAllah. And then what is the pleasure that you got every time you find out about something? I mean, every experience, good or bad, there's some hikmah.
There is a lot of hikmah.
What do you get?
I think for me the big pleasure of going to these different countries is there's 7 to 8 billion people in this world. I live here in Australia, in this small little place. Australia is this big, and then you've got the whole world, So my culture and my influence and my environment is only here. All that influences me, and I know the world. I know the world for this, and I know the world for that. I know how to do things this way. But then you've got 7, 8 billion people. If I go to, for example, just Jakarta, they do things a bit different here. So it's a whole different perspective. My doesn't mean how I do it is right. Doesn't mean how they do it is right, and it doesn't mean how I do it is wrong. It doesn't mean how they do it is wrong. It just means they do it differently and it works for them. So I want to see how they do things and why it works and how it works and understand their perspective, and then go to another country and understand their perspective of how they all see the world as like a different kind of, how they all see the world different in different glasses, basically, you know. And also there's like, you know, there's many verses in the Quran that explains how this world is big and vast, and Allah has created us in many tribes and communities and nations, so that we all get to know each other, you know, and understand each other and live each other in harmony. And I find this a lot, subhanAllah, you know, people think that the world is dangerous, and there is danger in the world, but just naturally speaking, humans are kind to other humans. We don't want violence, we don't want animosity, we don't want bad things. We just want he and she just wants to work, make money, and support their family. I'm just a traveler going through their country. They just want to smile. Wow, I've never seen another person who doesn't look like me before. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. They treat you with respect and kindness, and that's what all people that's just what they want to do, you know, and they just want to go on with their life, you know. So I want to sort of experience the human element and essence, that we are all one, you know, even if we're different religions and different cultures, we're all one. We all came from Adam, you know, we're all the children of Adam. We all return to Allah. We all live on this planet together and whatnot. And I think that is the beauty of just being a human, and even if we can't understand each other and communicate, we live the human experience, so we can relate to each other to a degree.
You have different perspective in every situation, then, and you can understand. Sometimes we think that somebody is they do bad to us. Well, actually, they protect something. When you have something in Afghanistan, probably just they try to protect their country.
That's right.
Probably there's something wants to harm us. Probably there's societies like that. I mean, if we have many multi-angle perspectives, it's gonna be different. Oh, there's such an experience. I mean, ini pengalaman yang bagus teman-teman semuanya. Ini kesempatan buat teman-teman untuk bisa mengeksplor dunia. Jadi teman-teman semua, ini kesempatan untuk kita ya. Maksudnya bahwa menarik ya. Kita bisa travel kemana-mana, bisa kemudian melihat orang lain dengan sudut pandang yang berbeda. Itu akan mendewasakan kita gitu ya, bahwa kita tuh nggak sendirian di sini. Kita tuh nggak bisa egois, nggak bisa sombong, dan kadang-kadang sesuatu yang nggak kita sukai gitu, atau yang kita pikir sesuatu yang berbahaya, sebenarnya kalau dari sudut pandang orang lain bisa aja ini sebenarnya sesuatu yang indah. Ini cuma kita nggak saling memahami dan juga nggak saling paham aja ya. Ini menarik guys, bisa aja mungkin teman-teman yang mau cari ide, content creator atau juga segala macam untuk hal-hal kebaikan, dan beliau juga menyatakan hal yang indah bahwa setiap pergi ke setiap negara di tempat yang dia tidak ketahui, setiap ke masjid dia berasa seperti ada di rumah. Oh, you want to say something to probably the viewers that really want to have the ideas on becoming the explorer or probably traveler? Is there any quote to them?
Definitely. I would say traveling first, it doesn't start when you get your passport and you go to the airport. Traveling really starts when you decide, you know what, I want to go and see the world, and you work for it. So whatever job you have, or even if you don't have a job, as long as you work to save the funds, that's when your traveling starts. Because some people, alhamdulillah, are blessed where their parents are rich and they give them money, they don't need to work for it, and they can go and travel whenever they want. The rest of us, we need to work for it. So everything in life that you want, you need to work for. If I want to travel, I need to work for it. The moment I start to work for it is when I am traveling, because that's the first step. Then when you have the money, alhamdulillah, you worked 1 year, 6 months, and you have the money now to go and travel. Every day you're traveling, you appreciate it because you understand the difficulty it took you to get the money to go and do this, you know? And the fear, everything, the strength, the bravery, all comes with it because you've earned that keeping, you know? So first start at home, save your money, be good with your budgeting, don't spend your money on things that are just this dunya that will go away, like this, you know, that wasteful. Don't spend your money on that. Make sure you budget well, make sure you live a simple life. After that, you don't have to go international, you can just travel local. Indonesia is huge. You know, if you're in Jakarta, you can go all the way over to Komodo. You can go to Labuan Bajo. You can go.
You know Komodo, you know Bajo. You went there?
Not yet. Very soon. Actually, I will be going at the end of sometime in April, inshallah.
Something
To
in
that
it.
side of the world.
Mashallah.
You can go to Lombok. You can go all the way to what are they called? Makalu Maluku Islands, which is
Yeah.
very beautiful.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
or you can go up to Sumatra. So start somewhere local. You know, even just outside Jakarta, go to Bandung. Get that experience of how to travel and be independent
Yeah.
and understand. You started very local when I began traveling. I just went to like road trips around my city, 2 hours, 3 hours away. I build that understanding myself and how I can rely on myself, and I'm comfortable just being solo. And alhamdulillah, after that I took it international. So if
Mashallah.
you want to travel, have the intentions, save and budget for that travel, and just go and explore and do things by yourself solo. Even if you go to the cafe solo, go have dinner solo, go have breakfast solo, go to the
You
beach
have
solo.
to be in full control.
You have to be
on-
full
on
control.
yourself.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Once you do that, then you understand yourself, and alhamdulillah, you'll be content with yourself
Mashallah.
forever.
One of the things that I think is quite interesting, you have to work for it, right? When you want to go to do, I mean, you have to achieve something, you have to work for it. Even to Jannah, you have to work for it.
That's right.
Yeah, just find out who you are and which part of you, I mean, your duty in dunya, and you have to work for it at maximum capacity. And I think your position in dunya as a traveler and spread the beauty of Islam through the world. MashaAllah. Thank you very much for your time.
One last thing, remember, if everybody has it, if everyone can achieve it, it's something you don't want. If only because it becomes easy.
Yeah.
So like if it's, and that's why, for example, the Jannah is something you have to work for.
Yes.
You know, it's not just given.
Yeah.
If it's something that everyone gets, then no one's appreciative of it because it's easy. You don't
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
But if you have to work for it, then you appreciate it. So yeah,
Yeah.
work for it.
So, more difficult, the reward will be
Bigger.
bigger, mashallah. Thank you very much for your time. Probably the viewers or the subscribers want to know you closer. What is your Instagram?
Instagram and YouTube is Abdi Explorer, so ABDIXPLORER, one word, Abdi Explorers. Check out the travel videos, check out my YouTube, check out my Instagram, and inshallah, you'll see more Indonesian videos coming up very soon.
Masya Allah, thank you very much. Teman-teman semuanya menarik banget ya. Jadi teman-teman tadinya dia nggak punya konsep apa-apa untuk kemudian jadi content creator atau juga jadi pekerja biasa. Akhirnya dia menemukan satu tema dalam dirinya dan menemukan dirinya di perjalanan ini ya. Berjalan sampai ke umroh, sampai sekarang sudah 34 negara disusul selama dalam waktu 2 tahun ini. Ya, ini sebuah pengalaman yang menarik dan ternyata bisa berdakwah juga. Jika dirasa menarik, maka share sebanyak-banyaknya linknya. Sampai ketemu lagi di episode berikutnya dari Cerita Untungs. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.